Okay, today we're going to be discussing equations of lines, lesson 3-4, and we're going to prove the slope criteria for parallel and perpendicular lines. So before you found the slopes of lines, now we're going to write an equation of a line, given information about the graph, and we will solve problems by writing equations. Only two new vocabulary words today: slope-intercept form, which may not be so new. Remember, y is equal to mx plus b. Well, that's the slope-intercept form. And then the point-slope form. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times the quantity of x minus x sub 1. So you'll see that a little later on if you can't remember that one. When given the slope and either the y-intercept or point on a line, you can use these forms to write the equation of a line. So this is slope-intercept form, so make sure you have that. Where b is where it crosses the y, it's the y-intercept. M is the slope. And then there's the point-slope form. So if you have the slope and any point on the line, you can substitute it in. So there, if you have the slope and then a point. So the point's going through 0.35. So it's the x sub 1 is where the 3 goes, and the y sub 1 is where the 5 goes. We're to write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line with slope of 6 and y-intercept of -3. Then we're to graph the line. So we're given the slope and a y-intercept, so we know that we can use the slope-intercept form because we're given slope and an intercept and the y-intercept. The slope is 6, so in place of m we put 6, and the y-intercept is a -3. So it's going to be plus a -3, or you can say -3 when we simplify it. So we're going to plot the point at the y-intercept. So we said the y-intercept's at -3, so we'll start here, and the slope is 6, so it goes up 6 over 1. And you'll plot your second point. Then you can draw a line through these 2 points, because by definition, any 2 points contain one line. Okay, so time to check your progress. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line with a slope of -1 and the y-intercept of 4. So you can pause for a moment, choose your answer, then come back and see that you're correct. This is a little different because the slope's -1, so that means your x is going to be negative. So that'd be these two. Also, if you subtract x from both sides, that would make that x negative. But they want it in slope-intercept form, and this is not slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals. And then the y-intercept is a +4, so +4. Now we're to write an equation in point-slope form of the line whose slope is -3/5, and it contains the point -10, 8. Knowing that this is the x value, -10 is the x value, and 8 is the y value, then we're to graph the line. So this is the point-slope formula. So instead of the y1, we put in our 8, and instead of m, we're going to put in our slope that we're given, and instead of x sub 1, we're going to put in a -10. Then we simplify. If we have minus a negative number, it's the same thing as positive, because negative times a negative makes it positive. And this is understood to be a -1 in the front. So we're given the point -10, 8. We're going to plot it. Well, that barely fits on the graph, doesn't it? And our slope is -3/5. So we're going to go down 3, right 5. Remember, you're only going to go -1 direction. This is not -3 over -5. It's a -3 over a +5. You could also go a +3, -5, as long as you only go -1 direction. You draw a line through the 2 points that have been made. Okay, so time to check your progress. Write an equation in point-slope form of the line whose slope is 1/3 that contains 6, -3. Okay, 1/3 is going to be our slope. All of these show that. -3 is our y, so since it's minus a -3, it's going to be +3, and -6. So B is our choice. Now, when the slope of a line is not given, we're going to use 2 points on the line to calculate the slope, which you've done that before. Then we're going to use the point slope or the slope-intercept form to write an equation of the line. So first of all, in order to write the equation of this line, we've got to find the slope. If you remember, it's y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. It doesn't matter which point you call 1 and which point you call 2, as long as if this is x1, that's y1, and if this is x2, that's y2. So it's the difference in the y's over the differences in the x's. So our slope is 3/2. So remember that, 3/2. Now we're going to use the point slope form in either point. It doesn't matter which of the points you use. On this one, they're choosing 4, 9. So either one of the 2 points that you were given. So in place of the slope, we're putting 3/2. The y is 9 and the x is 4. Use the distributive property. We're going to distribute this 3/2 across the parentheses. Then we're going to add 9 to both sides so that we have it in slope-intercept form. Y is equal to 3/2 x plus 3. So don't forget, when you're writing the equation, have it as y equals, so you're not done until you get to that point. Now we're to write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line containing these 2 points. So again, you're going to have to first find the slope. So 3 minus a -7 over -1 minus a -3, it's going to give us a slope of 5. Now we're going to pick either one of these points. They're using the -1, 3. I like to use the one with the smaller numbers because I can do the math in my head easy and make less mistakes. So we're going to put in for slope of 5, and y is 3 and minus a -1. We'll simplify this and distribute. Then you add 3 to both sides, so our equation is y is equal to 5x plus 8. All right, time to check your progress. So you need to pause for a little bit. Remember, you first have to find the slope, then choose either one of those numbers to substitute in, and then put it in slope-intercept form. C, y is equal to 2x minus 4. If you missed that, you might just go back and check your math. There may be some little bitty something that you did, not that you don't understand it, but just that you need to be very precise in your calculations. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line containing these 2 points. So again, follow that process, pause this video, and then come back and check your answer. So y is equal to 3x minus 2. Excellent job. Oh, now write an equation of the line through points 5, -2, and 0, -2. Notice that both the y's are -2. So we know we're going to have a horizontal line. We're to write that in slope-intercept form. So first of all, we're going to find the slope. Notice when we've got -2 minus a -2, so -2 plus 2, we're going to have 0 divided by -5. So that's going to give us a 0. Now we're going to substitute in. They're using the -2, 5, or 5, -2 actually, and then a slope of 0. So you get y plus 2 is equal to 0, then subtract 2 from both sides. So our equation ends up being y is equal to -2. Since the slope is 0, when it's a horizontal line, it does not have a slope, remember? So our slope will be 0. Okay, time to check your progress. So pause the video and work the problem, and come back and check your answer. Y is equal to -2/3 x plus 4. You thought you were going to end up with another 0 there, huh? Okay, key concepts about horizontal and vertical lines. The equation of a horizontal line is y is equal to some constant. Like this one is y is equal to -3. That gives you a horizontal line. Where b is the y-intercept of the line. The equation of a vertical line is where x is equal to a. So you've got another constant. X is equal to -2. This one slopes undefined. So now we're going to write equations of parallel or perpendicular lines. Parallel lines that are not vertical have equal slopes. Two non-vertical lines are perpendicular if the product of their slope is -1. Vertical and horizontal lines are always perpendicular to one another. So let's see what all that means. We're asked to write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line perpendicular to the line y is equal to 1/5 x plus 2, and it goes through point 2, 0. Now, we know that if it's perpendicular, it's going to be the opposite reciprocal. So what's the reciprocal of 1/5? Did you get 5/1? And the opposite of a positive 1/5 is going to be a -5. So the slope of a line that's perpendicular to this line is going to have a -5 slope. So we can substitute a -5 in for m, and it's going to go through the point 2, 0. This is how we find b. So we find out where it's going to cross the y when we substitute in the slope-intercept form. So the equation is going to be y is equal to -5x, because that's a -5, -5x plus 10, because that's where it crosses the y. That's the y-intercept. Wow, time to check your progress already. So write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line perpendicular to the line y is equal to 1/3 x, pay close attention to your 1/3, plus 2 through point 0.08. Y is equal to -3x plus 8. Very good. Opposite reciprocal. So this is a positive 1/3. It's going to be -3. Okay, our last example. We've got a real-world example. I'm going to pause for a moment and let you read this. Okay, so an apartment complex charges $525 per month plus $750 annual maintenance fee. So once a year, they have to pay this, and every month they also have to pay this. We're to write an equation to represent the total first year's cost, which they're calling A, for our month's rent. Okay. So we're going to use the slope-intercept form. Instead of x, we're using an r. Instead of y, we're using an a. So they pay $525 per month. That's your slope, plus $750. That's the annual maintenance fee. So the total annual cost can be represented by this equation. Now, what if there's a rental cost to a complex which charges a $200 annual maintenance fee? Doesn't that sound better than $750? But it charges $600 per month for rent. If a person expects to stay in this apartment for 1 year, which complex offers the better rate? And we're to evaluate for a year. So R is the months. So we're going to evaluate it if we're paying for 12 months. So first of all, the first complex, $525 per month plus $750 annual. The second one is $600 per month plus a $200 annual maintenance fee. Now we're going to substitute in 12 because we're thinking about staying 12 months or a full year. Ooh, see, it looked better, $750 compared to $200, but actually over a full year, the first complex is cheaper, isn't it? Okay. Time for you to check your progress. So pause for a moment. You need to write an equation that's going to represent the total cost, C, for D, days use. Very good. We have a $100 deposit we have to pay plus $25 per day. Very good. So now we're going to compare this rental cost to a company which charges a $50 deposit but $35 per day use. If a person expects to rent a car for 9 days, which company offers the better rate? The first company, second company, neither, or you cannot determine. Yes, the first company is better, just like when we were doing the apartment complex. Good job. Okay, you're now ready to begin your assignment.